So this is Podcast with KP, episode 1. Just trying to keep it simple. Don't overthink it. That's why I kind of started it out like this, because I just have to get myself into a place of not overthinking it. Overthinking it, and you know what? So on one hand, when we talk about overthinking, there's the worrying kind of overthinking, which, to be honest, for a long time I would classify overthinking as worrying. There's we just worry too much. But in the reality, sometimes overthinking looks like a form of responsibility, right? Because it starts out, you'll be thinking about this one event or this one thing that you're going to do, or this one event or one thing that you want to happen, might happen, that is kind of in your control or realm for this thing to happen. And then you start thinking, how does this, we're going to call this first thing, we're going to call it A. Let's call it O for origin. How does point O? How does the origin, like the initial event, you start thinking, okay, how does this impact this? And how does this impact that? And how does this impact this? So now, how does it impact these things? And it's like, oh, it could impact it like this, or it could impact it like this. It could impact it like this, or this could impact it like that. So now you got 6 more thoughts out of one event. Then you start thinking, okay, how can I bring this to pass? I might have to do this. I might have to do this. I might have to do that. So you started thinking about 20 things that you got to do on the front end of the origin point. Then you start thinking of 20 things that this origin point impacts, and then you take it further, this is impacted and that's impacted. So now you're 3 levels out from the origin thing. And that's the problem. That's where the overthinking is, right? Which is interesting, because I'm all for preparation. I'm huge on prepare for the thing, get right. But in the preparation, you try and forecast, financial literacy budget and teaching about forecasting. You try and forecast these potential future events that might happen. But here's the thing. Even when we thinking about all of those future forecasted events and pre-events and things, we're not in the moment. And sometimes overthinking is just a result of literally not being in the moment. And then the other thing I add is because, we think about it like that. We think about not being, when you look at it like that, I done got my words confused. I don't know. No sweat off my back. This is the first one. I want to know how many people gonna listen. Frankly, for this first couple of ones, I don't care, because it's just about the consistency to put it out. And that's how you calm down the overthinking. You bring it back to the origin. You just bring it back to that moment, that point. Because when we're doing our overthinking, we always tend to think about bad stuff. And that's why I used to call it worrying. We always typically think about bad stuff, but we don't sit here and be like, what if this goes really well? What if I do this thing and I meet someone that completely changes my life? What if I do this thing and I discover something within myself that I didn't know was there that changes the rest of my life, right? You never know. You absolutely never know, right? And that's why I kind of just wanted to jump this thing off, because I was having a conversation with Luke Mindset. I seem so stoic till you ask me a question I really don't have an answer for, and I'm kind of frazzled with. He asked me, when people ask me what I do for a living, I don't know what to say. Do I tell them what's paying the bills? Do I tell them the things that I created? Or do I tell them what I'm passionate about? Or do I tell them what I'm enjoying doing? Because I do a whole bunch of different stuff. So Luke was like, so what do you do? And I said, well, full time, I work at the bank, 9 to 5, and then I have a nonprofit and I enjoy doing this, and this. Then he was like, "What, do you post stuff now?" And I was like, "Well, I only post stuff from a business." And I just went on and on and on and on. And then I was like, "Well, if I do this and do that." And before I could, he was just like, "Bro." He didn't say bro. I said bro. He had like, he has this Australian accent. That accent, I can't even. I can't remake that accent. But it was cool. He was just like, "Yo, you're overthinking it, mate." How come when I do an Australian accent, it sounds more British, right? But I was like, this, that. He's like, "You're overthinking it. Just make a podcast." That's what he said. He said, "Just make a podcast." Then he was like, "Just make a weekly podcast. Just do a podcast once a week." And then he said, "Make it a hobby." And then he said, "It'll be like therapy," right? And it's crazy. So hearing that, and as I said it, I thought about this guy that I know in my hometown. That's another conversation. In the place that I live now, his name is Tyler, and he runs this a thing called Sports and Culture. It's like a media company, whatever. Don't let me butcher his baby. But as his platform was growing and blowing up, one day he got on Facebook and he was just like, "Yo," he started doing this because it was a therapeutic release, and that's why he started doing it, and it just grew. So I guess like right now I'm trying to re-implement the same thing. Just get on here and just talk. Just this is my 30-minute podcast, right? And the goal is just to record this 30 minutes and put it out there. And I guess at the same time, like as I'm walking through this, anybody that gets the pleasure or privilege of joining on to it, they can kind of hear or see the backside of development, the backside of progress, the backside of growth. Because, yeah, when people are like famous speakers and stuff, most people don't see them until they blow up and they big. But you don't see them when it's like, when they just starting out, the ugly phase. Kind of like when you go with bald or you start shaving. I know people talk about this when they grow their hair out. You go through that ugly phase. You go through that ugly phase where shit just don't look. Am I gonna cuss? I'm gonna try not to cuss. But it's probably gonna slip out here and there. I will make this promise. I'm gonna keep it so funky on my podcast, but cause it's therapy for me, yo. Remember, this is for me. I'm gonna keep this, just keep it funky. I'm gonna keep it like we gonna try and limit the F-bombs and the B-bombs, but I do want you to know, if you book me to speak, I won't use curse words, unless you tell me I can. But yeah. So, yeah. The place that I'm sitting in, doing this right now. I don't even know where I'm at. I know I'm in the state of Atlanta. I was just at a conference, right, which led me to do this. And sometimes people will be like, "Yo, we should start this right now. You're gonna start now, right?" But now literally means now. Right? Now is right now. You know what now mean? Like your mama say, "Hey boy, come wash these dishes now." Like now. It wasn't. No, you can't save your game. You can't probably get your tail up. So I'm about to cuss right then, and go in there and wash your dishes right now. So how come a lot of times when people scream, "I'm gonna do this now," now doesn't show up until later, which means you just lied. It wasn't now, it was later. I'm sitting right here because I was like, I'm gonna do this now, and it's 9 o'clock, and Did time just fall back before my eyes? It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock now. Got to go home. It's gonna take me 2 hours. 2 hours to get home. It's gonna be a little minute before I get there. Could have left 30 minutes ago, right? But I was committed, like to the now. I was like, yo, we gonna just record this thing now. And I felt challenged by it because, so I'm waiting on the lady to come pick the chairs up, and I'll talk about that next, to come grab the chairs and the tables. And I was like, oh, she's taking too long. I'm just gonna start recording. I started recording. I got 6.5 minutes into it, and I thought it was flowing good. I got 6.5 minutes into it. And then the lady pulls up, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna pause it and come back to it. By the time I came back, 30 minutes had went by, and it was like, ain't no point in all of that. I don't even know where I left off at. Let's just go from there. And at first, I was like, dang, that 30 minutes, that was the 30 minutes I was supposed to, get this thing recorded and then be done with it, and then going about my night, go ahead and get back up the road. But I was like, no, this now thing. See, sometimes when we we gotta put urgency behind certain things. And only you know what's gonna have a level of urgency to it. Like, you just feel it inside of you. You feel something. I don't know how everybody interprets being led by the Spirit. I don't know how everybody interprets that feeling. I don't know for you what it's like for you to understand that, yo, this is Holy Spirit leading me or pricking me to do something. If I'm being honest, sometimes like I'm guessing that this is his leading. Because sometimes it just kind of, my auntie explained it to me, it's like an inner knowing. Sometimes it just feels like, yo, I know this is what I should do. And you just kind of get up there. Like, and when you get that feeling, learning to be obedient to that. We talk about being obedient to God. You come to church and stuff, like people talk. You hear a lot of talk about being obedient to God, right? But at some point in time, especially anybody that spent some time with God, at some point in time, if you spent enough time with God, He starts to change your nature, right? You start to get changed from the inside out. And the more time you do that, the more change takes place, the more transformation happens on the inside. And then, what's inside of you starts to naturally seem like what's inside of Him, right? Because you've made an internal exchange so far. You spent so much time flushing out what was in you and replacing it with what was in God. So then the stuff that comes up in you might start to sound similar to things that God might say sometimes. So sometimes something to come up in you, an inkling or urge, make it personal. Sometimes something comes up in me and it's like an inkling and an urge to do something. And sometimes I gotta, I hear it like it's my gut. And sometimes I guess I just gotta trust what I'm feeling. And trust what I hear to do, because what if, even though I hear it as my own, what if it's that thing from God? And that's why you got to trust. And then on top of that, and I feel like this is true for everybody. Everybody. There's a difference between something coming from your soul, a soul thing, and a spirit thing. Anytime we're dealing with emotional stuff, that's always in your soul, right? So you got your soul and you got your spirit. And the spirit is the part of you that's directly connected to God. But sometimes that soul and that spirit are so intertwined, you can't tell one from the other, right? And sometimes, we just interpret it as my gut feeling, right? Now, you have like, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you mistrust people, iniquity, hesitation, doubt, reservations, paranoia. That's what I'm looking for. You feel paranoid towards certain things. You go, word, this person might do this. This might happen. That might happen. Blah, 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 blah. However, you have that gut feeling, right? And you really know the difference between the two. You know the difference between that gut feeling, and you know the difference between the like, you know, that paranoia, right? And you like, you really know it because an event will happen and you'll be like, you'll be so mad at yourself. You'll be so mad at yourself of the outcome of this event because you was like, I knew it. I don't know. I knew it. I don't know how I knew it. Nobody came and taught me this thing. Nobody came and educated me on this thing. I don't even know what subconscious things that I picked up on that led me to like reach this current conclusion. But the only thing you know is like, I know this. I don't know how I know it, and I know it. And you're mad at yourself when you're not obedient to that gut feeling because you knew that gut feeling wasn't going to lead you astray. And half the times we don't like to go at the gut feeling because a lot of times that gut feeling contradicts what we consciously know. That gut feeling contradicts what we consciously know. So then we don't want to go with it because we want to trust what we consciously know. And then boom, shit, I should have listened to my gut, right? That's kind of a little bit about what I felt this weekend. And it's like most things, like the way my mind was working was telling me, you know, don't commit to this thing. But my gut was just like, come on. Like it didn't even jump too far. It was just like, put your toes in. See what it's about. And, you know, I just started having different conversations with different people. And it started to build me up. This weekend, I had a chance to attend this conference. And literally the only reason I came to the conference was because it was free and I was invited. Like, it cost a lot of money. It was free to me and I was invited to it. So I was like, okay, it's free. I'm invited. I didn't even really pay much attention to what it was about, but I did realize like, oh, this is about like public speaking. And I was like, cool, you know, I didn't know what I was getting into, and that's why I came. And some things just resonated with me. Some things just resonated with me. Like, oh no, you just, I don't know. I do know. It's just a series of events that felt like I was supposed to be here. It's a series of events that felt like I was supposed to be here. And then even to take it a step further, I came on day one because I was invited, you know, free. And I like, that's some smart stuff, the way they had this thing broken out. So they had the first day for the general admission, and then they got day two, which was for the VIP, which was better than the first day. You get a lot out of the first day, but the VIP stuff had another level to it, just like another level of teaching and stuff. So I get to the VIP day. I wasn't supposed to be here. This shit cost, like, I would have had to pay an extra $200 to come to the VIP day. But I joined this $1 thing, and I joined the $1 thing, and it was like, hey, you can come back in the morning at like 8 o'clock for we're gonna do an 8 to 10 coaching. And I was like, cool. So I came in at the 8 to 10 coaching, and then the VIP session kicked off at 10, and it was like, oh, they're not kicking me out? Okay, let's be down there. And part of me was like, yo, they're going to kick me out. But, man, I soon realized, like, David, the host, clearly knew that I didn't pay to be there, but he didn't say nothing. So I just stuck around. And I was even asking myself, like, why are you here? Another funny part, like this morning, I was like, oh, I'm not going to church. It's funny. I will start making BS excuses for the things that we don't want to do. Because I was like, nigga, you skip going to church for other stuff. What's this? And then it was cool because the event was going on, and it was a lot of, like, you know, people talking some spiritual things. So I still felt like I was in church. It just felt like I was supposed to be here. It's funny what I'm about to say. This was like in the first 6 minutes of the first take. But, you know, something I've been telling myself for the last couple of weeks Today could be the day. Today could be the day. Today could be the day for something life-changing. Today can be the day for something life-changing. Now, let me walk you through my logic of why I believe that's so true. I developed this logic basically kind of like, because it's a principle, today can be the day, right? And I discovered the principle when I was listening listening to some traumatic things that some people close to me have dealt with. Family member going through, I want to say death, the murder of their infant baby. You know, to get a phone call one day that your 6-month-old is in the hospital because the daycare lady vigorously shook him, and now he's in the hospital and died a week later. Think about waking up in the morning and you just full of joy and happiness with your life, and then you get a phone call later on. Your 6 months old's in the hospital. A week later, your 6-month-old is dead. Or, phone calls that you get hey, such and such passed away. Y'all, I'm so afraid of the phone ring. I don't say that often. I'm so afraid when phones ring in the middle of the night. Most times in my life when we was kids growing up, when we had a house phone or something, nobody so people couldn't call your cell phone. You couldn't put it on vibrate, so someone called the house. The whole house heard it, so people wasn't calling late unless it was an emergency. So when I heard that phone call ring at 3 o'clock in the morning, if my mama and daddy ain't gonna say something to me then, I knew the next morning I was gonna hear something. So whenever I heard the phone ring at night, it would be oh man, somebody died, right? So, but it's the same way. That's how I feel at night. But to get a phone call to hear such and such passed away, I just talked to them. I was just with them. Those are life-changing events. To wake up one day and go to work and you not have your job. I remember I woke up one day. I ain't gonna lose my job, but my job let me know I was extra replaceable. Talk about being extra replaceable at work. These ninjas was hey, the job function that you've been doing for the past 8 years, we're just not going to do that process anymore. Are you replacing it? Nope. We just realized that it's a waste of time and we don't really need to do it. Well, damn. They show but had I woken up and went to work and they said that, then oh yeah, you about to be fired. That's life-changing news, right? So life-changing news happens in a moment. You come into the awareness of it in a moment. But the thing I'm getting at is you wake up that morning not knowing that this big life-changing event is about to happen. You wake up in the morning, in fact, it's trauma never shows up on time. It just shows up. But you wake up and you just get your day started like normal. Even if you get in a car accident one day and you lose function of your limbs, you woke up that day thinking it was just going to be a normal day. You woke up and, went to the bathroom, or you rolled over, started playing on your phone, rolled over, kissed your honey, hit snooze, went back to sleep, got up a little later, rushing or excited about the day, dreading the day. Whatever it is, sometimes you wake up not even knowing what's going on for a couple of moments, but you wake up kind of in the same fashion each and every day. You put your feet on the floor and you just get to going, not knowing that this could be the day that you receive life-changing information, or this could be the day that you go through an event that drastically changes the outcome of your life, or the direction of your life, or the pivot of your life. And I just that's principle, right? So how come we only apply it to the negative, right? It don't have to be applied just to the negative. Today could be the day that I get life-changing information, that I meet someone life-changing. Today could be the day I'm single. So today could be the day that I meet my wife. Today could be the day that I meet the person that is going to propel me to destiny. This could be the day that I meet someone that introduces me to someone, that introduces me to someone else, that introduces me to someone else, and boom. Like you never know. So even like I said, I got invited here. Even me being here, getting this invitation, it was just a series of different events that led me here. What led me here, what got me here, I was like, oh well, David Power Talk, the host, he invited me here. Okay, so he invites me here. Well, where did he see me for the invitation? In Houston. I live in South Carolina. Event is in Atlanta. We met in Houston. We met in Houston, never knew nothing about him. We met in Houston because he was hosting the event that I was on the panel for. So I'm on the panel, he hosting the event, and talking a lot. At the end of it, he's like, yo, take my information. We got this conference coming up in Atlanta. Guest, invite you. Hit me up, la la la. Cool. So I met him in Houston at an event. Well, how did I get here? This is my second year at the event. His first year, my second year. So this is my second year at the event. And how did I get from South Carolina to Houston, Texas? Through, and like, okay. So also timeline. It's October now. It's October 23, the day of this conference. Houston happened in July of 2023. So that was 4 months ago. 3 months ago. 4, whatever you count it. Well, actually, technically, counting 3 months to the day. That's like the 22nd to the 25th. So 3 months ago, July. So it's October now. Show at the conference. 3 months ago in July. That's why I met Power Talk at 2 years before that. So that's July 23. 2 years go back to July 2021. That's when that first conference was in Dallas, right? Like with Keith and Beyond Unlimited. That first conference was in Dallas, right? And I even had to have faith to come back for the second one because of certain things. And okay, so that was July of 2021. It's October 23 now. But this thing dominoes back to July 2021 when I did the first event. Prior to that, July 2021, we got to go all the way back to like February, March of 2021 when I got asked to come to the conference. Right? So that was, 4, 5, 6 months prior to that. So now we're back in January 2021 about how I just bounced my way into this event in October of 2023. And even in January 2021, why did he reach out to me to say, hey, I'm having a conference in Texas, you should come? Because I joined a Facebook group. Why did I join a Facebook group? Not even that. I was active. I started like, some days I'd be like, yo, I'm going to answer questions, I'm going to talk. Just being active in that group, dude saw what was coming. And I'm like, oh, yo, come speak, right? Huh, that's funny. That's so funny to me. All right. And then, before that, I'm in the group. It was a group called Minorities and Nonprofit. So it was a group just for black folk, Negroes, black people that are founders of nonprofit entities. That's why I joined the group. Why did I join? And I can just keep event back into this thing. Even starting a nonprofit. I remember the day when I started the nonprofit, I was about to shoot the first video for that, the first lesson. And I was so nervous, and God was like, oh, preparing you for destiny. Like, I heard that clearly, like, this is the start of destiny. Didn't know, just kept living. And fast forward to October 2020. And okay, that happened in January 2020, right? So it's like this thing led me to that thing, that led me to that thing. And if I'm being honest, kind of the same things that I felt that just kind of led me to do this, that, to start the business, to start Adulting 101, being nudged into making it public, to partnershiping with the person and partnership with that person. It's just been step by step. felt that the same things as the partisans. I said it was like faith. Like I went back for a second time, like doing that, and it's just like that kind of same thing is kind of what was kind of in the atmosphere here. So look, this was 30 minutes. Done. Wrapping it up. Here's my call to action because I want to make sure I have a call to action. If my first call to action is about everybody. It's about everybody, but it's gonna start with you and me, right? What I need is like, help me not be discouraged. Help encourage me to keep doing this thing. So if you listen to this whole thing, what I want you to do, pick one or all or whatever. Like this, share, comment, or message me directly and tell me what it meant for you. Eventually, I guess I'll come up with an easier way to contact me, but right now, mrkrpage@gmail.com. mrkrpage@gmail.com. Just, tell me something. Hey, we got the first one out. It's got posted now. So, yeah.